Have you ever had something happen with your horse? Maybe it's a training issue or a challenge that you've had for a long time. Maybe you just went to the barn and you had one of those really off days, things didn't go well, and you walked away thinking, is this an issue with my horse? Do I need to get a trainer? Do I need to get a different horse? Or is it me? I want to talk about this today. I'm here with Andrea for our weekly show. And this is something that I know I've gotten a lot of as a riding instructor. And Andrea, for you as a relationship specialist for horse and human, I know this is the kind of question and the essence of the questions that you answer every day. Where do we want to start with this topic?
I mean, we could almost end this immediately by going, yes, it's nearly always us. Like, I think in general. But of course, it's not that simple. But I do think as humans, what I see a lot in the horse human relationship is we put so much expectation on our horses. We expect them to do exactly what we ask, when we ask, the direction we want to go, at the speed we want to go, in the shape that we want to go. And anything outside of that is then deemed as a problem or an issue, or the horse is behaving this way or that way. And it's like, some of this comes down to us and the level of pressure that we put on horses. I think that we expect an awful lot from them, and we can forget about them as a species. And even that, if the horse has seen something out in nature that's made it really nervous and spook, okay, that's not on us, but it becomes on us if we don't recognize that that is just a horse being a horse, and that we could support them in that moment rather than chastising them and putting more pressure on them. So, no, it's not always us, but it does come back to us usually, if that makes
Yes,
sense.
I love the way that you frame it in that sense because I would say almost all of the behaviors that our horses do is just it's horses being horses, and it's the context. So, for example, a horse that is that's bucking and jumping and crow hopping. If he was doing that out in the field without tack and rider, it wouldn't be a problem for us. But in the context, the behavior is a problem. Now, we do also have behavior problems that they really are a problem for the horse too. So they're caused by stress. They're, what people label as vices. And so many of the root cause of these is our horse's management and lifestyle, as I like to say, in modern life. Just the all of the trappings of how they live day to day, the expectations that we have for horses, the fact that the horse is a domesticated species, but they're one of the domesticated species that rewilds very easily, and that's able to live very easily and go back to their core social structures pretty quickly when they are loose. And in the United States, there's a lot of the Mustangs, and Mustangs actually is not a breed. There's different lines within Mustangs, but many of the Mustangs are horses that have gotten loose or have been turned loose over generations in that area. So it's an example of how quickly horses are able to rewild. So keeping that in mind, just as you said, of the expectations that we put on horses, and I do think that in a lot of a lot of published information today about training, sometimes, and especially in the realm of therapy with horses, as horses are becoming more and more prominent, being used in therapy, it swings too far the other direction, where people put a lot of focus on the horse is a mirror of us. The horse is just every problem that we have, any emotion, negative emotion that we have is going to affect our horses in a bad way. And it creates for some riders really a block of being able to help their horse because they become so worried about themselves. And if something doesn't go right, it's me, it's me, it's me. And we have to come to the table recognizing this with the horse, but also with ourselves of that the horse is its own unique being with its own challenges.
Absolutely. I feel really strongly about this, actually. I've seen a lot of people completely lose their confidence because they've been told that absolutely every bit of tension or fear or anger or anything that they've had in their body for the last 30 years is being completely mirrored by their horse, and therefore it is their fault. And I think that isn't very healthy. I don't think that helps the big picture. Sure, if you're working with your horse and you know that you are scared and anxious and tight, and then your horse starts playing up, yes, most likely that is influencing your horse. But our horses have their own unique spirit levels and their own life experiences. I think it's very almost demeaning to a horse to think that they are literally only a mirror of us. Like, that's in a way quite ego driven on the human side of things. You know, they have their own spirit and, you know, personality. And do we influence it? Absolutely. But it doesn't mean that they are a direct mirror. And I think there's a lot of good, you know, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of good being done in therapy with horses. But I've also seen stuff where, you know, someone is working with a therapy horse, maybe putting them through some exercises, and I was there to treat and work with a different horse and human, and I heard someone saying, oh, he's pinning his ears on the circle because you have so much anger in you. And I'm looking at the horse and going, he's pinning his ears because he's lame. He is sore. But that person then felt awful about themselves. Anyway, I think that, you know, as with anything, as with horsemanship, as with anything, there's good and there's not so good. And I think that we need to come to our horses with an open heart and be honest about who we are and the challenges that we might have. But most importantly, to be able to view the world through their eyes. Not always think, oh, well, this horse is doing this because of me or because it's misbehaving. Maybe it smelt something in that wind that's blowing from the opposite direction to what it normally does. Maybe it's just as simple as that, that it can smell something and it's like, whoa, what's that? Doesn't make it a bad horse. It doesn't mean you're a terrible horse person. It's just something that is happening in that moment. And I think when we can have our minds open to the horse as a species, we can make the right decision in that moment, whether that be get off the horse, whether that be rub the horse and go, yes, I can see something's worrying you right now. Maybe we'll turn this way. And it's being able to make a decision in that moment by keeping an open mind and not apportioning blame. Oh, it's your fault or it's my fault. It's just something that's happening right now. What do I need to do? And the more skills we can pick up learning from any instructors that inspire you, you can put all that knowledge in your bag and be able to pull out that knowledge when you need it. And something that I've always said to my students, I have incredibly loyal students that have been through the mentorship or in the Wise Riders Club. But I always say, you know, learn from as many people as you possibly can. It's why we invite so many different guests onto the Wise Riders platform, because all of them have wisdom that we can take, use what works for us. I always say, gather all the flavors, make your own cake. And when you need it, it's not about apportioning blame on whose fault this is. It's what do I need to do to help my horse? What do I need to do to stay safe? And I think that's a more important conversation to have.
And when we come to any interaction with our horse with that mindset, that first part might be, am I showing up the best that I can? Do I need to go take a lap around the barn before I actually pull my horse out? And from then, and also having a bit of having a bit of ease in that we're not perfect and we're not going to be able to be in some perfect Zen state all the time. So, when you slip a little bit and you notice that you are, you're getting frustrated or you're getting distracted with other things and you're not present with your horse. Okay, I can do better. What can I do in this moment to show up better for my horse? And then what does my horse need? And sometimes that's a change from us. And sometimes that's something that's completely separate from us. And that, as you mentioned with the example that you saw, it's the horse needs a vet, or the horse needs a break, or the horse needs, something else that doesn't necessarily have to do with us.
I think that's exactly right. And I was just talking last night to the mentorship group, and I said to them, get rid of this notion that you are never going to make a mistake. You are going to make so many mistakes. And the value in making a mistake is learning from it and going, I didn't quite get it that time, but I will now. Because we put so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect that what I think we start to do is paralyze ourselves. And then we don't want to ask the horse to do anything. Then we don't want to interact in any way because we're so worried about getting it wrong. And I think it's just about going, you know what, it's okay. I'm not perfect. Neither's the horses. I mean, they're perfect in every single way, but we all have our own stuff that we're bringing to the party. And I always say, do the very best that you can, but give yourself a break. Because yes, maybe it is you today. Maybe it is you, but it's okay. Life is messy. Life can be a bit complicated. Maybe you show up and go, I don't know why, but I am just not feeling it today. Great. Go and take your horse an apple in the field and go and watch how beautiful they are when they're grazing. Don't worry about it.
Yes, well said. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We love to get your questions and your ideas for topics to discuss here. So you can put them in the comments. You can send them to us at Horse Class. And Andrea, I'll see you back. Well, we're taking a break for the holidays. We're doing this right before the holiday season. So
Merry Christmas
in the new year.
Yes, absolutely. Merry Christmas, everybody. And I hope you have a wonderful time with your families and your horses. And yes, any questions, leave below. Any comments or observations or experiences you've had in what we've been talking about. We love to hear about it.
See you next time.
Bye.